the Graham Group. And actually, Kay and Don Graham were in it, and Tom Murphy was in it, and Bill Gates was in it, Larry Tisch, and all of these people. And Don was in it, and every time we met, the group wanted to hear Don speak. So I would, I kind of wanted to rotate things, but they didn't want me to rotate things. They wanted to hear Don. So he gave the key points in that as a talk one time, and the crowd went wild. So we all suggested to him, you got to put it in a book, and he did. And it was such a great way to present it too, because everybody's got these 10 rules for success, but he got. I heard it in Sun Valley. I heard it with our group. I mean, he just had that way of presenting things that grabbed you in the first minute, and you were just hoping he wouldn't stop talking.
Hello and welcome to the book review section of Horizon, the videos of JM Financial Services. Today we are going to talk about a wonderful book. It's so good that I have read it already 5 times, and I think I'll keep reading it. You can see the title of the book. It says The 10 Commandments for Business Failure. And why should somebody be interested in reading about the commandments for failure? Actually, that's really the fun. Before we talk about the book, let's talk about the author. And instead of me talking about the author or me introducing the author, let's look at the Oracle of Omaha, the greatest investor as it is claimed in the world today, Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett interestingly says, when you around dawn, referring to the author, when you are around dawn, you are learning something all the time. There is a group of successful business owners, investors. It's called the Graham Club or the Graham Group, in the memory of Benjamin Graham, who was also the teacher of Warren Buffett. And these people, they meet periodically. Again, referring to that group, Mr. Warren Buffett has this to say. He says, everyone wants Don to be the keynote speaker at the group. And he takes one name specifically. And he says, especially Bill Gates wants Don to be the keynote speaker every time. Now, who's Don? Don, or Donald Keogh. He was the CEO of the Coca-Cola company. And he wrote this book. Now, we may wonder why the CEO of Coca-Cola writes about business failure. The background of the book is very interesting. Once Mr. Donald Keogh, the then CEO of Coca-Cola company, was invited to talk about how to win. Please remember, Coca-Cola company has been one of the most successful enterprises, and Donald Keogh has been one of the most successful CEOs the world has seen. So it was quite natural and obvious that he was invited to talk about how to win. And the author says, I am not sure, after such a long experience, I am not sure in any field there is a formula that would guarantee you victory. However, he says, there are certain things that you can do which will make you a successful failure. And these are his words, not mine. If you follow certain things, then you will succeed in failing. So what do you call this book? You may call this book a book on failure coming from one of the most successful CEOs from one of the most successful companies. And that's why we got to read this, we got to listen to somebody. It's his years of experience which is poured into this book, which is roughly 200 pages or so. There is a particular genre of books called how to. So how to do this, how to succeed, how to speak in public, how to win, how to influence. Please consider this book as how not to rather than how to. Because when he talks about failure, he doesn't want anybody to fail. He says how not to fail. It's not about how to succeed. So let's look at the commandments. 10 commandments. Number 1. Do not take risks. Or he says, quit taking risks. And very interestingly, he says, I would like to see the graveyard where the failed companies have been buried. And that if that's the case, the epitaph might read, here lies a company that did not take risks. Not taking risk is one of the biggest risks that somebody is taking. And this is also reflected in what one of the greatest management gurus, Peter Drucker, also said to this effect. It is the management's responsibility to take various risks for the business to succeed in the future. Such a line needs a lot of reflection. And that's why, and this is just the first commandment, by the way, and that's why I recommend this book must be read and read again and again. Second commandment, be inflexible in your approach. The second commandment is be inflexible. And just to once again quote from the book, the author has quoted Niccolo Machiavelli. Machiavelli said, it's very strange. When circumstances change, people don't. Rigidity is a sure shot formula for failure. The third commandment is isolate yourself. The moment you isolate yourself, you are not going to get the feedback. And a lot of people isolate themselves because they are getting feedback that they don't like. If you don't get to know the truth, well, that's exactly what the commandment means. The fourth is even more profound. It says, the fourth commandment is assume infallibility. Behave as if you are infallible, you are invincible. The moment you assume that you can't fail, that's the first step towards failure. Thinking is difficult, and that's why a lot of people act without thinking. That's commandment number 6. Don't take time to think is the commandment. So what happens is everyone once in a while makes mistakes. But if you don't stop and reflect on the mistake, if you don't analyze the mistake, you are more likely to repeat the mistakes again and again. I think I'll stop at this commandment because I can go on and on. But that's not really the point. The point really is read the book, read the examples which are given, reflect on those, see how it applies in various ways. What do you mean by various ways? The various ways means as an investor, you look for the clues in various companies. The business that you want to invest in, the company that follows these commandments more is more likely to fail. And the company that is more likely to fail is less likely to survive in the long run. As an investor, we would love to invest in businesses because if my holding period is long, the first rule is the company has to survive for that long. Otherwise, I'll be trading. Nothing wrong with trading. But as an investor, I'll be looking for companies that survive. And the companies that survive fail less often. They don't not take risks. They do take risks, but they don't make the mistakes that the 10 commandments highlight. Okay, in the end, let me just give you a bonus. The book does not have 10 commandments. There is an 11th commandment also. And this 11th commandment applies not just to the businesses, it applies to individuals because it's about life. It says, the short formula for failure, commandment number 11 is lose your passion for your work, lose your passion for life. I think this bonus is probably equal to the first 10 commandments in my understanding. Happy reading. Enjoy the book. Reflect. And the chances are, well, I don't know, because when the author doesn't guarantee success, the author says you are less likely to fail. Thank you so much.
Investment in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.